for the snow batches table. So this is the snow batches table that we have created details. We try to make this field read mandatory. Also, we try to hide this field. We also did one more example, that is like when the status is standing on hold, then only on hold reason should be visible and it should be mandatory. If the status is not running on hold, then it should be hidden. So for that we have written some logic like this. Also, we written a UI policy for that. Let's go to UI policies. So under system UI, we'll go to UI policies. So we discussed about UI policy in the previous class days. Also, we are discussing. We need to give the table name and the short description what this UI policy is doing. Also the condition, what condition it should satisfy to run this UI policy. So if this condition is satisfied, if status is selected as running on hold, let's say if the status is selected as running on hold, if this condition satisfies, then this UI policy will do what you're asking to do. That is on hold reason should be mandatory and it should be visible. So on hold reason is becoming mandatory and it is also becoming visible. But let's say when the status is not selected as running on hold, we also observe this kind of situation. If the status is not selected as running on hold, you can see the on hold reason is hidden and it is removing the mandate. How that is working, we also observed that using reversive false. We discussed about this using reversive false. This reversive false is, make sure if this condition is false, if this condition is evaluating to false, it is reversing these UI policy actions. Also, we discussed about the global checkbox. What this global checkbox will do. If this checkbox is checked to true, it will applicable for all the form views. If it is unchecked, it will run only on particular. We'll cover this in the client scripts when we start the client scripts. Maybe 2 days from now, 3 days from now, we'll cover this. What is onload checkbox will do. Also, this one we covered inherit. If you check this inherit checkbox, if any table is extending this table, whatever table you have given here, if the table is having any child table, this UI policy will also be applicable there. If you check this inherit checkbox, this is what we discussed in the last class. Anyone having any doubts here? No. Everyone can hear me, or I'm simply saying. So what happened to you? Again, you guys came for. See, you should respond, guys. It won't work like that because okay, for the other two classes it's fine, but after that we'll start the coding. I mean, scripting. It won't work out like that if you simply sit like this. See, I can share you the recordings if you are simply sitting like that. Why? What is the use of explaining this? Let's create one more field. Then, if you remember in the last class, yesterday I was not taking. If you remember in the last class, we are discussing about UI policy. What do you remember about UI policy? Anyone? What do
It's
you
used
remember
to
about
make yeah, it is used to make
Read only.
read only.
Okay. Apart from that, I also told one more point. By any chance, anyone remember that? Apart from sorry, what? Apart from that, I also
It
told
runs
one
on
more.
the client side server.
It runs on the client side server. It runs only on the client side, not server side. Okay. We also discussed, if you remember, UI policy it will run on the client side. Okay. First thing, what I didn't told you what do you mean by client side yesterday. I mean, in the previous class, we didn't discuss about that. What do I mean by client side? What do you mean running on the client side? But we discussed UI policies used to make a field mandatory, read-only, and visible. Also, we discussed what is mandatory. For example, this is mandatory, this is read-only. and visible, which means visible in the sense if visible is true, it will show the field. If visible is false, it will hide the field actually. So today let's discuss about what do I mean by client side and what do I mean by server side. Okay. So UI policies runs on the client side. In service now there are few things that will run on the side, the client side, and few things that will be running on the server side. So UI policies will run on the client side. What do I mean? Something runs on the client side. If something runs on the client side, which means that it will run on the browser level. Browser level in the sense only on the form level. What do you mean by form level? Do you know what is a form? No. Anyone knows what is a form?
We currently use the form.
Yeah, this is a form. So this we call it as a form. So client side is if you see if someone says in the service now something runs on the client side, it will run only on the form level, which means it will run only on the browser level, only on this form. Okay, only on this form, whatever fields are there, only on that it will be available. Let's say for example, this is read only. I cannot edit this field. Can you see? Can I edit the data in this field? No, I can't edit.
No, it-
So what should I? But that is read only using what I made it read only. How did I made it read only?
Using UI
Yeah, it
policy.
was using it.
Using UI policy. And how UI policy will run on the client side, which
Instead
means
yes.
it will be read only on the form, not from anywhere else. So let's say for example, I can't edit this data here. What I can do, I can go to the list. This is the data SNB001. Yes, I can change this data here. That is read only in the list view, only in the form. It got changed. Yes or no? So when
Yes.
someone says something runs on the client side, you need to understand it will be running only on the form level, only on the form level. It doesn't mean that not on the list level. Okay, only on the form level. Don't make things complicated, because in previous batches, what my students will do, they'll say, okay, it will run on the form level, it won't run on the list level. Don't say that. It will run only on the form level. That's it. Okay, and this is read only. It is read only means it is read only via UI policy. UI policy runs on the client side. Client side means it will run only on the form level. Only in the form it is read only. Let's say for example, description. Description is a mandatory field. If I try to remove this data and if I try to save this form, it won't allow me to save. Is it allowing me to save? No.
No.
But what you can do, I can go to the list. It is mandatory only on the form level again, because we made it mandatory using UI policy. Let me bring the description in the list level just to show you. Let me try to remove this data here. See, it's gone. No data here. See, it is allowing me to save the record. See, if I reload the page also, you won't see anything. So only in the form it is mandatory. The same applies for the hidden also, visible or hidden also. So UI policy runs on the client side. Client side means it will run only on the form level. So in this case, whatever things we have done, like making a field mandatory, read only, or visible, or showing the field or hiding the field, those all things will be applicable only on the form, not anywhere. Only on the form it will work. Clear? No. Anyone having any doubts? Yeah.
No doubt.
So that is client side. Okay.
Okay, one second.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vijay. So the term we are spelling it as client side. So my kind of understanding is like client side in the sense it will be user facing interface, right?
This is
In
user facing
general.
interface only. Yeah?
Yeah. So
Yes. Front
so
end.
here in this form,
We call.
so here in this form level, it is. I mean, The UI policy is applicable only to the user interface, but the list view it will be controlled by the internal developers. Right? Just to
No,
make some understanding.
no, that is what I'm telling. Don't make the things complicated. Let's make the things simple. See, that's what I told you earlier also. If I say something runs on the form, it will run only on the form. The reason why I'm not I can't able to explain you properly. Maybe in the tomorrow's concept you'll understand. What do I mean? Let's say, for example, okay, let's consider this example. For example, this field is mandatory. Okay, if I need to create a record in this table, I need to give this description data. Without giving this description, I can't save the record, right? Yes or no?
Yes,
Yes. But at the same time, what I can do, I can give some dummy description and I can go to the list level and I can clear the data, right?
yes,
I can give some dummy
yes,
description, I can go to the list view and I can clear the data because it's mandatory only on the form level, not anywhere else. Also, we have
yes,
another opportunity. Also, we have another option. Let's say you can create a record using code actually. That concept will take time. I mean, to go there, it will take so much time. I mean, maybe from 2 weeks from now, we can write a server side code to create a record in service now. To create a record in service. Okay, at that time, you won't be present in the form. Since you are not present on the form, it really doesn't matter whether you give description or not, it will insert the record. Okay. So that's why I'm saying when you say client side, don't make things complicated. It doesn't mean that okay in the list view it won't work, only in the form view it will work. Not like that. Only in the form view it will work. Don't mention that list view. It will run only in the form. But from anywhere else you can insert the data. Let's say for example you have done an integration. Integration in the sense, let's say for example you are creating a record in a system known as Salesforce, or you are just typing in your WhatsApp. You open your WhatsApp, you are typing. You saved a contact with this ID dev 330 dot service dot com. Okay, you're saving some contact like this and you're hitting, you're giving some details. Let's say number is this, short description column this, description column this. So it should insert a record in this table using integration. That is possible actually. You can insert a record. At that time also, even though it's mandatory, see, user interface, you only told user interface. User interface means when you're physically present on this form, then only it's mandatory. Or else no, it won't be mandatory. Okay. But I also
yeah,
told you an example. We can create a record from the code. We can import the data into ServiceNow. Tomorrow we'll see that concept. There is a concept known as import sets, importing the data into ServiceNow. That we'll see tomorrow. How to import the data into ServiceNow using Excel sheet. So at that time also you won't consider it as mandatory. Also, in order to explain you clearly, let's say for example, okay, what is the value of trainee name here? What is the value of trainee name here?
True.
Sorry. Not only for him, everyone. What is the value of trainee name here? Guys, is it serious? You are calm. Like I'm not getting like what is the value of trainee name here? Yeah, what I'm asking simple question, what is the value of trainee name? And everyone is simply the value of trainee name is nothing but able tutor. And everyone is simple. No. The value of trainee name is able tutor. I'm changing it now. From able tutor to let's say Abraham Lincoln. Okay. I didn't save the form. I didn't save the form. In the client side, you told user interface, right? In the client side, the value of trainee name will be Abraham Lincoln. But in the server side, if you try to access this field data from the client side, I mean using client script, we didn't went there, but let's say if you try to access the data from the client side, you told user interface. So from the client side, the value of trainee name will be Abraham Lincoln only. But from the server side, the value of trainee name will be still able tutor only. Reason why? Because I didn't save this form. Server means the data should be saved in the database. Then only it will work. Client means you no need to save it. See, if I refresh the page, you'll still see trainee name as able tutor only, not Abraham Lincoln. So it should be saved in the database. Whatever data is saved in the database, that will be given to you in the server. But in the client, it's not like that. You no need to save it. You just change the value. In the client side, the value of trainee name is this, but in the server side, the value of trainee name will be still able tutor only, because server will take only that data which got saved in the database. When it will be saved in the database, when I save the form, or else it won't save, right? But from the client side, it's not like that. Whatever you see on the form, whatever is present on the form, you no need to save it. That will be your client side. Clear? No.
Yes, Vijay.
Yes, Vijay.
Everyone.
Yes, Vijay.
So please don't make the things complicated, guys. When I say client side runs, client side means it will run only on the form level, only on the form. That's it. Nowhere else. Okay. So in this case, we are making this number short description. Also, if you feel, let's say amount paid are mandatory. I mean, number should be read only. Short description should be mandatory. Amount on hold reason should be visible. Okay. That will run only on the form level. It is read only on the form. It is mandatory only on this form. It is hidden only on the form, not from anywhere else. Anywhere in the sense, not only on the list view, also from the other parts, like I told, from the code, from the, you can also create a record from the code. There also it won't be applicable. Only when you are physically present on the form. You should be physically present on the form, then only these things will impact it, or else no, it won't impact. I hope this is clear for everyone. Yes,
Yes,
no.
Vijay.
Yes, Vijay.
Now, I want
Yes,
to make
Vijay.
this short description mandatory. I want to make this short description mandatory. And it should be mandatory everywhere. Not only on the form level, also from the list level, also from everywhere. Everywhere it should be mandatory. When I say everywhere, not only on the form, not only on the list, I also told you we can create a record from the server side code. So let's say using code, you can create as many records you want without physically present on the form. At that time also, I want this field to be mandatory. So let's say when I'm writing the code, I forgot to give this short description value. Okay. Then also it should not allow the user to insert the record in this table because it's mandatory. And I want this mandatory to be happening on the server side, not on the client side. Because when you make it on the client side, when you try to make this short description mandatory on the client side, which means from the UI policy level, it will be mandatory only on the form. But I want to make this short description mandatory from the server side. Server side means everywhere it should be mandatory. Not only on the form, not only on the list. Let's say if I try to create a record from the script and I forget to give this data there, short description data, still it should not allow the user to insert the record, or there is any integration setup. Let's say from Salesforce they are creating a record and automatically here also it should create a record. In that case, if they forget to give the short description, at that time also it should not allow me to insert the record. So something like this. I want it to be mandatory across the platform on the server side, not only on the client side. So how can I do it? You can't do it using a UI policy because we discussed it will run only on the client side. So there is a concept known as data policy. Data policy. Okay. Just type data policy in the filter navigator. Are you guys understanding the scenario or not?
Yes, Vijay.
Or I'm simply
Yes,
going?
Vijay.
Yes, Vijay.
Sure. What do you
Yes, Vijay.
understand till now? Can you tell me?
The scenario is
We
like
need to
we have to make this short description
No,
as
short description,
mandatory everywhere,
mandatory,
not only
global,
on the.
everywhere.
everywhere.
Yeah. Sure.
What do you mean by client side? Can you tell me what do I mean by client
So
side?
if want, if we want to save this
It
data
was
when we change the insert a record or something, so it will be in the client side only. So if we save the record, it will be global everywhere in server side as well. If the server is saved with all the data, then only it will be reflecting in this client side everywhere.
No, I told that example for you to understand. But what do you mean by client side? Anyone in one word?
Form level
In the
side.
form view,
Form
form
level.
level.
Form level, browser level.
Yes, browser level. It will be saved at
Don't
server.
say that server and when I say client side, just say client side. That's it. It will run only on the form.
In the form level.
Whatever you present on the form, only there it will run. Okay. So in
Yes.
this case, it is present only on the form. I changed it. I told you as an example. Actually, that's how it will work also. I'll show you anyway. Maybe 3 more days we'll start the client scripts. Okay, now let's come back to our scenario. Our scenario is to make this short description mandatory across the platform, not only on the form, everywhere. It should be mandatory. Okay, let's type data policies. Data policies. Under system policy, go to data policies. Okay, data policies. Open it. Click on new to create a new data policy. Give the table as a what table do we give?
Snow badges.
Let's give it as no batches. So these things we already covered, if you remember, in the
Yes.
UI policy. What is inherit? Anyone?
To inherit all the parent,
Applies to all
whatever it
the
tells within
child.
the parent, it will be inherited to the child.
It to
Yeah.
all the
In
child.
this case, which table it will apply?
Snow
If I check
badges.
this, already I'm writing it on the snow batches only. Why it will apply to snow batches?
New record.
No. Anyone else? If I check this checkbox, in this case, to which table it will apply?
Child.
Yeah, with child batch. Child batches, correct. It will applicable to two tables. See, anyway, we
What?
are creating snow batches table. Okay, for this snow batches table, it will be applicable. We also created a child batches table, if you remember. This is a parent, and child batches is the child for this. So it will be applicable for that child batches also. We also discussed what this reversive false will do. Anyone remember by any chance what is reversive false? You don't remember what is reversive false?
Remember, but
If it is false, it will
Sorry,
to
what?
true.
whenever we keep this training on hold, it will be reflected on hold reason, right? So for every, if we uncheck this, it will not hide.
See, okay. See, reversive false. Just remember one thing. Whatever condition you give here, okay. If that condition is satisfying, it will do what you are asking to do. If the condition is not satisfying, it will reverse the actions. Actually, let me just create this. Then I'll tell you. Anyway, I told you this in the UI policy. I thought it was so clear for
Yes.
you. But okay. Anyway, I'll explain it again. Active. Anyone by any chance do you remember what this active will do?
Status.
Not status minimum. If this active is true, then only this data
Then only
policy
it
will
will.
run, or else it
Yes.
won't run. It will be deactivated. Yeah. These things I'll tell you. These things are specifically for this. Short description. Let's give a short description, making what you are doing in this data policy that you can tell here in the short description. I'm making it mandatory. Is there any condition in my scenario? What is the scenario we are doing? Huh?
We make it feel
Mm.
mandatory.
Which field mandatory?
Remember, short description.
Short description mandatory. Is there any condition in that problem statement?
No.
No, we don't
Mm.
have any condition. Don't take this much time to tell it. We don't have any condition. That's it. So I don't see any options to make a field mandatory or read only or other things. So the same thing happened in UI policy also. Then what we did in the UI policy also, after filling these details, do you see any options to make a field mandatory or read only? What
No,
we
no.
did
After
there?
saving this,
No,
Yeah, you
we
need
make
to
this.
change
save
the
the
first
form. Then
and then it
only
will
you will
reflect.
see the additional options. Okay, save it. Now we have data policy rules. Okay, this is data policy rules. Let's click on new. Same concept there on here. You need to select the field name, which field you want to make it mandatory or read only. So I want to
Short
make short
description.
description to what? Mandatory to true. So
Mandatory.
if you observe this form carefully, if you observe this form carefully, do you find any difference between UI policy and data policy?
Yeah. Here
No.
principal option is
No.
mandatory.
Then you guys didn't understood the concept. You really don't find a single difference between data policy and UI policy if you observe this form.
Here
In data
default
policy,
option
we
is
have two
mandatory.
options: read only, mandatory,
Hmm.
and in UI policy we have three:
Okay, three
mandatory,
options.
read only, and visible.
Visible. So that is your second difference. What is the first difference you need to tell? See, the basic interview concepts will start from the difference between UI policy and data policy. An interviewer, if they want to start from the basic level, they will ask you what is the difference between the UI policy and data policy. You need to tell UI policy will run on the client side, data policy will run on the server side. That is your first difference. What is the second difference? What they will do. UI policy will run on the client side, data policy will run on the server side. UI policy is used to make a field mandatory, read only, and visible. Three things it can do: mandatory, read only, and visible. Whereas data policy is used to make a field mandatory and read only. We cannot control the visibility in data policy. Is it clear? No.
Yes.
Yes,
It's
everyone.
clear.
So these 2 points are very important. Okay, you need to remember for sure these 2 points. Okay. Now, let's say for example, this reversive false. Everyone forgetted this, but let's imagine I'm giving a condition here that status is training started. Let's say status is training started. Okay, what do you understand from this? Your policy, data policy now, because of this reversive false. I imagine I given a condition here. What do you understand from this reversive false? What this reversive false is doing?
If
We
the
already
con-
covered this in UI
yeah,
policy.
if the condition is false, if the condition is not satisfied, it will return a fail.
First, you tell me if the condition satisfies, what will happen? Tell me if the condition satisfies, what will happen first?
The action, whatever we agree to the system, the action will be
Not
taken
yet.
care.
Arey, let's imagine if the condition satisfied. Let's say, can you tell me is the condition satisfied now or not? According to this form, according to this form, do you see this condition is getting satisfied or not?
Yes.
It's satisfied, right? Yes.
Yes.
Then what this data policy will do? Guys, do you think it's a spoon feeding? Really? I'm telling you what is the value of trainee name and you are not able to tell. I'm telling you if this condition satisfies what this data policy will do and you are not able to tell. It's in front of your eyes. If this condition satisfies according to this data policy, what it will do?
Short description will be mandatory. It will.
Yeah, short description will be mandatory. And you're not able to answer this. Really, it's spoon feeding. Are you getting it or not? Are you, at least now you understood what I'm trying to say or no?
Yes, Vijay, we are getting.
Yes,
Yes.
Vijay.
Other people, Arey, respond, yaar, others. Are you understanding it or not?
Yes, Vijay. Yeah, Vijay.
Yes. Yeah.
So if this condition satisfies, what it will do? It will make this short description mandatory to true.
Mandatory.
Yes or no?
Yes, Vijay.
Yes. Vijay.
So what if this condition is not satisfying? Then what it will do? Let's imagine this condition is not satisfying now. What it will do? According to this reversive false.
Short description won't be
But
mandatory.
It will
mandatory.
make mandatory false.
Yes,
Right?
yes, yes.
Yes, yes.
That is what? Yes, yes. One person is telling and other people are shouting like a, what is this? I just told you very clearly in the yesterday's class, right? What this reversive false will do, which means nobody understood. I'm only thinking you guys are understanding it, and it's very simple concept. Going ahead, there will be a lot of difficult concepts. I think nobody understood reversive false. I'm sure that. Okay, let me explain what this reversive false will do. Then we'll see the data policy concept. Simply, you are saying you understood. You understood. You are not understanding that. Okay. See. Let me just refresh the page. So according to this data policy, on the snow batches table, whenever the status is running started, whenever you select the status as training started, let's imagine the status is running in progress. So on the snow batches table, this is snow batches table form. In this table, when this condition gets satisfied, when the status is training started, let's select the status as training started. When you select the status as training started, then this condition is evaluating to true because I kept the status as training started here. Then it will do what you are asking to do. What I'm asking to do, make short description mandatory. So it is making short description mandatory. It is making this short description mandatory. Okay. This is clear for everyone or no?
Yes, Vijay, clear.
But let's say when I select the training started, instead of status as training started, I'm selecting anything else. Let's say training in progress. You don't see the short description is mandatory.
Set to false.
Do you see the short description is mandatory here?
No.
No.
But I'm not telling the system to make it mandatory false anywhere. I'm telling the system to make it mandatory true only, not mandatory false. I'm not telling the system to make it mandatory false. Right? How it is removing that mandatory. What we are telling to the system, if the status is selected as training started, if the status is selected as training started, make it mandatory. That is what I'm telling. But I'm not telling to the system, if the status is not training started, remove this mandatory. But how it is working? It is working because of this reverse if false. What this reverse if false will do? Let's say, for example, the status is not selected as training started. Let's say it is not training started. It is not training started. Then this reverse if false will reverse these actions, which means if it is mandatory true, it will make mandatory false. If you want, please refer to that video that we discussed in the last class. There I explained it very clearly using this this example, if you remember. So please go through that video recording again. I'm sure nobody understood then UI policy also. You're simply mugging the statements. It won't work out like that. Okay. If you don't understood what I said you now regarding reverse if false, please go through the UI policy recording. Clear, everyone? No.
Yes, Vijay, clear.
Okay.
It's very simple concept and not getting you like nobody will take 1 hour to cover this concept base.
For only
Okay.
training started, it is if we select it as mandatory, it will show it as mandatory short description.
See, here the
If we select,
intention is not to mention. I understood few people are understanding, but I'm assuming everyone should understand this topic. Few people are understanding. I also heard an answer from the crowd, but I want everyone to understand this. See, nobody will ask you what is reverse if false in an interview, but you should know. Even an 8 years experienced people don't know this. Honestly, they'll think it is working, but they don't know what is happening in the back end. It's very simple concept actually. Okay, let's come back to our scenario. I don't want to take that stress again. See, according to this data policy, what we created in the snow batches table, there is no condition at all to make the thing simpler. I'm not making any condition. In the snow batches table, I need to make this short description mandatory. So, no condition, it will be every time mandatory. See, it's mandatory. Okay, and this mandatory, we are making it using data policy. Data policy means it will run on the server side, not on the client side. Okay, it is run on the server side, not on the client side. Let's say I'm saving the form. Now let's go to the list view. Let's go to the list view. We have description, that is UI policy, short description, that is data policy. Let's try to clear the description value. Will it allow me to save it or not?
No.
no,
It will allow.
It will
yes,
allow.
it will,
Why it will?
because we
It
have
is a
selected
UI
short
policy.
description as mandatory.
This is a UI
Description
policy.
is also mandatory only, no?
Yes, mandatory. Sorry.
That
Then
is
why
UI
it is allowing
policy.
me to?
UI policy in its mandatory and form.
Yes, simple thing. It's mandatory only on the form. Description is also mandatory. Short description is also mandatory. Both are mandatory. See, in this case, description is also mandatory. Short description is also mandatory. But description is mandatory using UI policy. Short description is mandatory using data policy. I told you description is Mandatory using UI policy means that will run only on the form. So here it is no value. Now let's try to remove this data policy. Will it allow me if I click on save?
No.
No.
It should not allow me. It's not allowing me. See, you can see an error message here. You can alter the value. I mean, you can update the value to something else like test or something like that. It will allow you, but it won't allow you to make it empty. It won't allow you. Clear?
Yes,
Yes.
Vijay.
Yes, Vijay.
Maybe it's
Vijay, I
understanding.
have one doubt.
Yeah, tell me.
Yeah, Vijay. So, my doubt is like, uh, without before this UI policy, we made the fields mandatory using configuring them. So, with that configuring, will this changes will be applicable only on the client side or also on server side?
It will applicable on the server side also, but the issue there is, I told you we can also create a record using the script.
Yes.
There it won't be applicable. So
Okay.
the reason why I'm not telling it based on the dictionary level, the only reason why I'm not telling on the dictionary level is, okay, let's try to make this trainee name mandatory. Okay, let's try to make this trainee name mandatory using dictionary level. Dictionary level. Okay, configure
Okay.
dictionary. The only reason why I can't tell you this topic now, because there is a concept known as ACL, which you guys are not aware of. That will come into the picture if I do this. Let's make it mandatory. I'm making trainee name mandatory using dictionary level, not using UI policy, not using data policy, right? So
Hmm.
one disadvantage with the dictionary level, you can't. It will be every time mandatory or read only. You can't apply the conditions, right? There. Because in UI policy, in data policy, you have the conditions. Here there is no condition. But
Oh,
let's say this is mandatory on the form. Okay, it will be mandatory on the list also. But let's say we have trainee name. See, if I try to make it empty, it's not allowing me actually, right?
yes.
It's not allowing me. It will also be mandatory on the server. But let's say, for example, whenever you are trying to, let's say, whenever you are trying to import the data into ServiceNow, or whenever you are writing a background script, I mean a script to create a record in ServiceNow, then it won't be mandatory. So data policy is having that advantage actually. Okay.
Okay.
That's the
Okay.
reason. I don't want to confuse you guys. When we go for ACL, then we'll discuss this. But I don't want to confuse you with the dictionary mandatory and this one. Also, dictionary mandatory, you can't apply the conditions. Okay.
Okay, Vijay. Got it. Thanks.
But every time you want it to be mandatory, you simply go for a dictionary. See, every time in this case, number, short description, I mean number description. Every time I want this field to be mandatory, simply go for dictionary level. Don't do it via UI policy. If there is a condition and you want it to be mandatory, then you go for a UI policy. Okay. So very simple, guys. When to choose UI policy, when to choose data policy. Data policy we won't choose that much in the real time scenarios. We'll mostly choosing the UI policies only. Reason, data policy will also won't allow you when you try to import the data, or when you try to let's say doing an integration or from the background script. So most of the times people go for, in real time they'll go for UI policy on the form level only to make it mandatory or read only or whatever it is. Okay, from the list level there is a concept known as ACL. They'll take care about they'll do that thing. Okay, so remember two things. UI policy runs on the client side. When I say client side, you need to remember it. You no need to explain to the interviewer. Don't make the things complicated. Okay, it will run on the client side, which means on the form. Don't say that. If they ask, you say. If they don't ask, you simply say UI policy runs on the client side, which means it is mandatory. See, this is also mandatory. This is also mandatory. But this is mandatory using UI policy. This is mandatory using data policy. UI policy make it mandatory only on the form, but not from the list. You just saw that. Not from the list. I can clear this value. Data policy runs on the server side everywhere, not only on the form, also everywhere. Okay, not only on the list. Even you are creating the data from external data sources like Excel or from the code, then also it will be mandatory data policy. Okay, remember that. And UI policy is used to make a field mandatory, read-only, and visible, whereas data policy is used to make a field mandatory and read-only only. We cannot control the visibility. These 2 points are clear for everyone. Then we can go for the third point.
Yes, Vijay, clear.
Yeah, people who understood till here, that's fine. This is an add-on point. If you tell this, it will be very good. If you don't tell it also, it's fine. Okay, there is a third point also. What is the third difference? I'll tell you. This is a data policy, and under related link of data policy, you can see convert this to UI policy. Yes. When I click on
Yes.
this, as the name suggests, it will convert this data policy to a UI policy. It will not be a data policy anymore. It will convert this data policy into a UI policy. Okay. So
Yeah.
every data policy can be converted into a UI policy. What is the first difference you need to tell? UI policy runs on the client side, data policy runs on the server side. UI policy is used to make a field mandatory, read-only, and visible, whereas data policy is used to make a field mandatory and read-only only. The third point is every data policy can be converted into a UI policy. Let me click on this UI policy now. Convert this to UI policy. It's no more a data policy now. It was converted to a UI policy now. It is no more a data policy. You can see it converted into UI policy. Okay. Now if I go to this list, if I refresh the page, if I try to remove this data policy, if I try to remove the short description, will it allow me or not? No.
It
It will
will
allow.
allow.
Yeah, it will allow.
It will allow. It will allow.
Reason? It's a UI
Because it
policy.
was converted
It
to
was converted to UI
Yeah,
policy.
it is converted to UI policy.
Okay. From here, will it allow me? If I save the form, will it allow me from here?
No.
No.
Because on the form level,
It's mandatory.
Mandatory.
on the form level. Okay. So the third point is every data policy can be converted into a UI policy. But in order to convert a UI policy to data policy, you also have an option in the UI policy to convert it into a data policy. See, convert this to data policy. Every data policy can be converted into UI policy. But in order to convert a UI policy to data policy, the vice versa, it should satisfy 3 conditions. 3 conditions it should satisfy. Okay, what is not there in data policy, guys? What are the things that are not available in data policy and they are available in UI policy?
Visibility.
Visibility.
Visible function.
That is your first condition. Visible should be leave alone. It should not be true. It should not be false. It should be leave alone. That is your first condition. Okay. In order to convert, if you want to see this option, convert this to data policy, the first condition is visible should be leave alone. It should not be true or it should not be false. Let's say I'm making it as true. I'm refreshing the page. You won't see this option. See. Because in data policy, there is no visible. There is no visibility, right? That's the reason. So every data policy can be converted into a UI policy, but in order to convert a UI policy to data policy, see, wait, it didn't say. What happened? Why it's not saving? I think I didn't save. Okay, let it go. Now, do you see an option to convert this into a data policy?
No.
No. The only reason is visible should be leave alone. It should not be true or it should not be false. Every data policy can be converted into a UI policy, but in order to convert a UI policy to data policy, the first condition is visible should be
Visible.
leave alone.
Leave alone.
It should not be true or it should not be false. Okay, that is the first condition. Everyone understood the first condition? No.
Yes, Vijay.
Yes,
Yes.
Vijay.
Yes.
There's also a second condition, that is global should be true. See, again I can see convert this to data policy because I made it visible leave alone. Global should be true. If it is false, again, if it is false and if I save the form, you won't see the option again because global is also not available in data policy. What global will do, guys? Anyone remember? Or you forgetted this also?
It will apply changes in
Everywhere.
all
Everywhere.
views everywhere.
Everywhere
In
means
all,
what do you mean
in all
everywhere?
views.
Guys, don't give generalized statements. Everywhere means what?
In all
It will
views.
make it applicable in all views.
All views means all form
All type of
views.
views. All
All
yes.
form views. Don't say
All
all type of
forms.
views. Even you will get a views in the list also. All form views. It will applicable on all form views. You see?
Yeah.
Now I can see this option because in data policy you cannot control this visibility using global. Okay. So first condition is in order to convert a UI policy to data policy, what is the first condition? Visible should be leave alone. And the second condition is global should be true. What is the third condition, guys? Third condition will be, again, you won't see this option. Run scripts. In the script section, you can also write a code in the UI policy, but you cannot write a code in the data policy. Even though you have the capability to write a code in UI policy, don't write a code in UI policy. You should always write a code in client scripts only, not in the UI policy. Okay, as per the best practices. But whatever code we'll write in the client script will also be applicable here. We'll come there. I mean, in another 3 days, we'll go to the client script concept. Okay. So the run script should be unchecked, which means run script should be false. If I save it again, you won't see this option. Convert this to UI policy, you won't see. Sorry, convert this to data policy, you won't see. See, even though run script scripting capability is there in UI policy, don't do the scripting in UI policy. Always write a code in client script. That will be a future concept. In another 2 more days, we'll see. See, now also I don't see the option to convert this to data policy because in data policy you don't have a scripting option. That's it. Clear, everyone? No.
Yes, Vijay.
Yes, Vijay.
So again, I'm repeating,
Yes,
guys,
Vijay.
the three differences between UI policy and data policy. UI policy runs on the client side. Data policy runs on the server side. UI policy is used to make a field mandatory, read-only, and visible, whereas data policy is used to make a field mandatory and read-only. We cannot control the visibility in data policy. Every data policy can be converted into a UI policy, but in order to convert a UI policy to data policy, it should match three conditions. That is, visible should be leave alone, global should be true, and script should be false or unchecked. Whatever you feel of. Okay, I'm converting back this to data policy. Is it clear, everyone? Do you have any questions here? I'll explain this also now.
Clear.
This is the basic interview question, the first basic interview question that you can expect from the interviewer. You should remember this. I'll also share the notes to you anyway for this. Okay. So you can see this checkbox. Use as UI policy on client. Nobody will ask you what it is, but since it is present on the form, I'm telling you. Use as UI policy on client means if I uncheck this, okay, you can see its mandatory symbol is there, right? You can see the mandatory symbol here.
Yeah.
Yes.
If I uncheck it and if I save the form, you won't see that mandatory symbol anymore. Do you see mandatory symbol now?
No.
But still it's mandatory only. Still it's mandatory. And you will get a different error message. Invalid update. Different error messages. Okay, if I make it, if I check this checkbox, see this you don't need to remember since it is present on the form I'm telling you. Okay, if I check this and if I refresh the page now, you will get a different error message. If you check this, you will get a different error message because it will also run on the client side only. If this checkbox is checked to true, in the form it is indirectly running on the client side, but in the list it will run as a server side only. But don't make the things complicated again, since nobody will ask you this, but since it's present on the form, I'm telling you. Okay. Yeah, it won't show that mandatory. Actually, practically speaking, you can't make a field mandatory on the server side actually. But you can do one thing, you can't allow the user to save the form if the field is empty. So that's why they are practically you can't make a field mandatory on the server side. Practical. Why? Uh, you can make a field mandatory read only and visible only on the client side actually. But what they are doing actually, but you can do one thing on the server side if the field is empty. I mean, you can't make it mandatory. Like these symbols can't be possible. If you make it empty, you can't allow the user to submit the form. That is why when you are learning server-side code, I mean business rules, then you'll understand what I'm saying here. But now I don't think so. You'll understand this topic now. Okay, apply some soap. We can cover this topic in this training because soap and rest are the integration topics. Integration is nothing but when you try to pull the data from third party, not from service now, not from the service now. Let's say I want to pull some data from the Salesforce or SAP environment into service now. Yeah, in that case, this will run. Applies to soap will run. Let's say I'm trying to pull in some data, SAP. I think everyone is aware of SAP. It's a similar tool like it's a similar platform like ServiceNow. Let's say in the SAP there is a table in the SNOW6 table. Here also, when you try to create a record, here also you should be able to create. Applies to SOAP means let's say there the short description field is not mandatory, but here it is mandatory. They are trying to save the record. When they try to save the record, the expected behavior is here also it should create a record, but it won't create a record if the short description is if the short description value is empty. So that kind of behavior. This you will understand tomorrow. What I'm saying because applies to import sets. Tomorrow we'll start the import sets. What these import sets will do. Tomorrow's topic is import sets, guys. What these import sets will do. It is used to import the data from Excel. See, once you create a table in ServiceNow, this all data was created by us, a dummy data created by us. But once you create a table, customer will give you an Excel sheet or anything. Most of the times they'll give an Excel sheet and they'll ask you to load the data into ServiceNow. They will present an Excel sheet to you and they'll expect you to load the data into ServiceNow. How are we going to load the data into ServiceNow? Is tomorrow's concept, that is imports. It's importing the data into ServiceNow. Okay, that we will cover tomorrow. At that time, you will understand. I'll cover this topic also. Applies to imports. But do you have any questions between UI policy and data policy? Difference between UI policy and data policy? Anyone?
No, Vijay.
No.
Guys, trust me, UI policy and data policy is very simple concepts. Web policy and data policies are very simple concepts. Try to understand. It's very simple concepts, but you need to understand. See, nobody will ask you what is reverse false and all that. It's fine, but you should know that. That's the reason I'm asking you to learn. Let me share you the questions. Okay, I didn't share you the assessment. I'm telling you, I'll share the assessment from day before yesterday. I didn't share you the assessment. I just shared it in WhatsApp. Let me just try to open the same assessment in my system also. Let me share my screen back. So whatever we covered before UI policy and data policy, everything will be present in that assessment. So if you do that assessment, it will be an application. See, it will be in a similar way in the real time also. If you do the assessment, it will be the exactly same. It's more than in the real time also you won't get that much big table and they won't ask you to get those many fields. But if you are able to do that assessment, which means you are able to understand, you understood every concept that we covered before you had policy, like creating tables, fields, sections, everything will be covered. And making a table, parent table, all these things. Okay. So this is the custom application environment. So you can ignore that. You can ignore this point. Keep everything in update set because this update set. If I tell you this now, everyone will try to cheat. Anyway, I won't check your assessment. Please don't do that. I won't check your assessment. It's not a school or it's not a college. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. I'll explain you that. But I'm not going to check your assessments. Okay. If you do it, you will learn. It's up to you. Okay. Create an application known as issue management. So the application menu Application means application menu should be issue management. Okay. I think everyone know what is application menu, or you don't know.
Yes.
Yes.
Tell me what is the application menu here?
System diagnostic.
System diagnostics is an application menu. Data debug policies is a module. Okay. So they are asking to create an application menu known as issue management, and the table name should be issues. Issues. Okay.
Okay.
And that the issues parent should be task. I forgot to tell you. Normally, task table is the parent table for majority of the tables in ServiceNow. Like out of the box tables, you see problem change or request item. All these tables have a common table as a parent table, that is task table. Okay. What I am trying to explain here is like this. You need to go to table simply. I think everyone know how to create a table by now for sure. I think it's not like recursive first. You won't put me down there at least. If you don't understand, you need to tell guys. I don't know. I really felt bad about reversive falls because I explained it that clearly on that day. You are not. So what they are trying to ask you is like issues, something like this. It should extend the task table, which means the task should be the parent, something like this. Yeah. So issue management should be the menu name, which means it should be issue management. Okay. This is what they are asking you. Issues is the parent. Okay. Issue management is the menu name. New menu name issue management. Anyway, it will create a module with the name issues. That's fine. It should extend the task table. I hope this is clear for everyone. These 2 points. Yes. Then you need to create these fields in the table, caller ID, and it is a reference field to this table, user table, user. And you see an underscore here. Wherever you see underscore, don't give underscore, guys. Give a space. Please don't give underscore. Okay. Again, I'm telling you, please don't give underscore. Caller ID is a field which should refer to the user table. Once the table got created, category. These are the choices in the category you need to create. Child issues. Again, I'm giving the type here. Close quote. Again, choice. These are the choices. One thing I need to tell you. That is like, okay, since you're extending the task table here, task is your parent table. Before you create a field in the table, let's say I'm going to create a field in the table. Let's say, for example, you will go to form, right, to create a field, configure form layout. Before you create a field, since it is already extending a task table, before you create, first you check here in the form layout whether the field exists or not. Let's check category. Category exists or not. You see that first. Type category here. You press your mouse somewhere and type category CATE. If it exists, then don't create. You simply bring it in the selected. If it doesn't exist, then only you create. Are you getting? Because we are task is a parent table. Already few of the fields will be available in the task table. Don't create it again. You're getting? No.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, Vijay.
Everyone.
Yeah, get it.
Yeah. So create these fields, close code. These are the choices. Reopen again, date and time field. Reopened by reference choice. You create these fields like this. Now, subcategory depends on category. If you remember, we have a dependent concept. Like I explained you this concept. I don't know how many of you remember that. So we created 2 fields known as state and city. See, let's say when the state is selected as Andhra Pradesh, I should show only Vizag and Vijayawada. When the state is selected as Telangana, I should show only Hyderabad and Warangal. When the state is selected as Karnataka, I should show only Bangalore and Mysore. So this concept we have done, the same concept in a high level. So subcategory is dependent on category. Is someone go on? Subcategory is dependent on category. So we have a category here. Category is having these choices: software, hardware, network, database, admin, and general inquiry. Okay, you should create a subcategory here. The subcategory choices are given here. The value is the subcategory choices. So let's say in the category when you select hardware, okay. So these are the category choices. In the category when you select hardware, in the subcategory you should able to see CPU, you should able to see disk, you should able to see what else? Keyboard, memory, monitor, mouse. Okay. Are you getting it? No.
Yes.
Everyone. You coordinate among yourselves if anything is missing, or you can reach out to me. Still, you see these are the category choices. Here I'm telling make subcategory dependent on category. So when I select this inquiry, antivirus, and internal application, email should be displayed in the subcategory. So it will see this is how the real time will be. This is really a real time scenario actually. Okay, this I brought it from my real time only. One of my real time scenarios only. See what I explained you is short way. This is the snow batches table I explained you. Okay, number. This is the table we created. But what I'm asking you to create is this. Only the number of fields are increasing and the concept is changing. Instead of state city, you have more choices. But the concept is same. This is how the exact real time will be there. Okay. Now the form layout should look like this. Form layout means few fields on the left side, few fields on the right side. Yeah? It should be look like this. And you see opened by caller created. You bring these fields like this. Arrange the fields like this. Once all, you should create all these fields, but once the fields got created, try to bring these fields like this. Let's say, for example, when you're creating these fields, let's say contact type is not there. I didn't ask you to create contact type here anywhere. There is no contact type field here. Okay, nor it won't be available in the task table. So don't bring it, leave it. If there is any field that is missing, don't bring it, leave it. Okay, leave that field. It should look like this. Whatever fields are present here, you also bring those fields. Okay, if there is any field missing, don't bring it, leave it. Okay, and these are the sections you need to create. Form sections. Closer information is the section, and in this section you need to bring these fields. If these fields are there, you bring it. If it is not there, you remove it. No need to create it. Okay, so form section is nothing but what are the sections here? Anyone? In this form, what are
Primary
sections?
details.
Primary
Primary
details,
details and record
information,
info.
record info.
Right? These sections you need to create, like closer information, notes. These are the sections you need to create. Till here, we are done with the issues table. So we created a table known as issues under issue management application menu. We created all these fields. We made it dependent. We arranged the form layout. We arranged the section. Till here, we are done with the issues. Now we need to create one more table known as issue task. I'm expecting you to create one more table that is issue task. That issue task should extend the issues table, whatever we created till now, which means extends means issues should be the parent for this issue task table. Okay, is it clear? No. Guys,
Yes.
do you understood or not?
Yes, sir.
You need to
Yeah,
create
yes,
one more
sir.
table known as issue
Yeah.
task, and for this issue task, you need to make this issues as a parent. Okay,
No.
these are the modules. If you remember, we created modules, right? Don't know how many of you remember this. When we type service now batches. When I click on snow batches, it is going to snow batches list view. When I click on create new, it is going to the new record of snow batches. So these are the modules. So in the same way, you need to create a modules here. Create new issues. When you click on this, it should go to the new issue record. All open issues, and this is the filter. Active is true. Active is field. Is operator. True is the value. All open issues is the module. Issues assigned to me. Assigned to is the field. Is dynamic is the operator. Me is the value. I didn't told you what is dynamic. You just try to find it yourself. If it is not clear, I'll explain. Try to do it. Issues assigned to me. Issues assigned to my group. All issues. All open issues unassigned. So I'm giving the filters also here. There might be some typos here. It should be me instead of Emma. It is resolved instead of something like that. Yeah. Try to create these modules. And the last thing, personalized list layout, which means what I need to see in the list layout, list view. What fields I need to see in the list. These all fields I need to see in the list. So this is the assessment. I have shared you in the group already. So if you have any doubts on this, let me know.
Just a small clarification here. So here, the task will be the first existing a table in the service now. So that will be the parent, and the table now we are creating here. The issues will be child, and by the end of this assessment, we are creating one more table called issues task that will be the child to the issues table.
issues task will be the child to the issues task to be.
Yes. Issues.
Am I correct, Vijay?
Yes, yes, you're correct. You're correct.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. Just try doing it. If you have any doubts, you can. But this is how a real time will be. Like I was telling you, right? See, I told you how to create a table. I told you how to create the fields. Just the length increased. Here we created this table with these fields. Just the number of fields are increasing here, nothing else. If you pay attention. And the dependent, I just showed you how to make it three choices dependent. Here there are six choices or other more choices you need to create. That's it. Nothing else. I don't see. Dynamic me, you need to explore. It's simple assessment only. You might feel like this. Just have a look once. Okay. Any doubts, anyone? Yeah. I already shared the assessment for you guys. If you have
Yeah.
any doubts, so any doubts in the topic that we covered today? I know today's session was not that interactive, but I'll make sure tomorrow it will be good. I will also share the notes to you. Yeah, I shared the notes also for you. You can have a look on that further regarding the UI policy, data policy difference. You can have a look. Yeah.
Yeah, Vijay, it's clear.
Any doubts, anyone, in today's topic or whatever we discussed till now? Okay, then, chalo, let's catch up tomorrow at the same time. Thank you all. Bye.
Thanks, Vijay.